everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to talk about my updated handbag collection. When I first started my YouTube channel, I talked about my bags and I went over my collection at the time. I believe I had 6 of them and I talked about each one, what I liked about them and how they served my style. And as my style has evolved, so has my collection. So I want to go over my preferences now and how they've changed, and then ultimately what I will be decluttering and then what I will be keeping. So let's get started. I think the best place to start is with a quick overview of how my preferences have changed and ultimately what I like in handbags now versus what I used to like. So when I was going through my collection, there were 3 things that stood out to me. And the first is that I no longer have a preference for obvious designer bags. And I think that comes down to 2 things. The first being just my style evolving, and then the second one being that when I first started redoing my wardrobe a couple years ago, designer bags were really popular, and specifically like the Louis Vuitton that I have, that was a really popular style, and I saw a lot of people that I really liked for their style having those bags and wearing them so well, so I had 2 in my wardrobe, and my style has evolved from that into less obvious preferences. I like when things are a little bit more understated now. And then the other thing that I noticed is that I'm paying more attention to proportion in my bags. So I've talked about this before, but I'm 5'3", petite overall, and generally pretty small framed. And a lot of handbags that are kind of normal size look a little bit oversized on me, and they become the key focus of my outfits rather than accentuating my outfits. So I've been focusing more on finding smaller scale bags and bags that are marketed as mini or micro size, small size, and ultimately it gives me the same look, but in proportion to me a little bit better. So I think it plays better with my overall look that I really like. And then the last thing is color. So when I first started my wardrobe, I had basically no colors. I had very few and mostly neutrals, blacks, whites, stuff like that. And my handbags reflected that, plus where I was living. So ultimately, as my style has evolved, I've introduced some more colors into my wardrobe and my handbags reflect that. So as you see in just a second, I've got some more colors that I'm really, really loving. Now I want to go over my handbag collection, and I'm going to go through each bag, all of the bags that I have right now, and talk about whether or not I'll be keeping it and then ultimately why. So let's start off with one of my oldest bags in my collection. It is from J.Crew. It's one of the first bags that I bought when I kind of redid my wardrobe, and I love it because it's functional and practical and really cute still. It's still a style that I really enjoy. It's a really nice size, really nice room inside. It's got a lot of space I can put all my stuff in, and I like that it's top handle and then a little bit rounded. It complements my wardrobe really well, and I enjoy carrying it. It's very comfortable. And then also I love that it's black and gold because I wear a lot of that. As you can see, I'm wearing that today, and it goes really well with my overall style. So I love that one and will definitely be keeping it. Next is this bag that I've had again for a very long time. It's really beautiful. I talked about it in that original handbag video. It has a beautiful shape to it. I love the top handles and the solid bottom, so it sits really nicely on surfaces. And it's been a favorite for a very long time, but I am going to be putting this one on hold in my wardrobe. So anytime I'm thinking about getting rid of something, I don't automatically get rid of it. I instead put it into a temporary on hold section of my closet where I can think about it. So if I haven't reached for it in maybe an additional year, then I'll reevaluate. But this is such a classic bag. It's really beautiful, really well made, and I don't want to regret getting rid of it, but I really have not been wearing it. I think since that original video, I would say I wore it a lot that year, and then after that, I don't think I've reached for it at all. So it's just sat nicely in my closet, and since I no longer wear it, I do think it's worth reevaluating. So again, it's going to go to my temporary section, and then I will reevaluate as time goes on. Next is one of my absolute favorite bags, and even though the proportions aren't really right for my overall height and size, and the color isn't really something that I wear all that often, I will never get rid of it. And it is my vintage Gucci bag. I love this handbag so much. I love the shape and the style and just everything about it. It's so beautiful, and there's just something so wonderful about it whenever I look at it. So even though I don't wear that, I will never get rid of this bag. It's one that I am very, very happy to have, and it's something that I think is definitely has a place in your wardrobe if there are things that you don't really reach for all that often, and so you might be going by conventional decluttering rules of get rid of it if you haven't worn it in a year or whatever. I think that there is a place for things that just have special meaning to you and a special value to you and are just really beautiful to look at. So that's what this bag is for me, and I will not be getting rid of it. Another bag that I wanted to mention is one that I actually already got rid of, and that is my Dunion Bork bag. I had that one for a really long time, and I loved it because the color was so beautiful. I love that top handle and the overall shape. It's a style that I really, really love, as you can see from the ones that I've talked about. And I ultimately decided that it was no longer serving me because I didn't wear it. And when I thought about why, it came down to the color. Even though that color is beautiful, it didn't really go with my wardrobe as my style had evolved. And then also the overall size, it was just too big. So I just never reached for it as I started to understand proportion and silhouette a little bit better, and ultimately what made me feel really good. So better served for someone else. And then also at the beginning of the video, I talked about my 2 Louis Vuitton bags, and I have that cute little crossbody and then the clutch, right? Some people call that a makeup bag. When I bought it, I was told it was a clutch, but I love both of those, and obviously I wore them a ton, and like I talked about, I no longer really reach for them, and I will be parting with them. And the reason comes down to the color, also the overall obvious print and the obvious designer. Like I mentioned, it's not something I really gravitate towards anymore, but I did learn from these 2 bags. I really love smaller scale crossbody bags, as you'll see that influence some other bags in my collection. And then also clutches. I really, really love clutch bags, and making them even smaller scale has served me really well. So using the Louis Vuitton bags as guidance, I was able to understand, like I talked about, that I like small scale crossbody bags and clutches. So I introduced this really beautiful small blue crossbody bag. It was gifted to me very generously, and I really love it because I used that information to choose this bag because it's small, so it's in proportion to me. The color is more vibrant and it goes with my wardrobe, and ultimately I just love how easy it is. A crossbody is so effortless, and it serves me and my personal preferences really, really well. So I love that bag, and I will not be getting rid of it. And then, much like I talked about for the clutch bag, that dictated my purchase of this vintage bag that's a really gorgeous green bag. I love the color green, and this style is something that I really enjoy. It's almost like a wallet style, but it's really small, and in proportion to me, it's the perfect size clutch. Plus with the gold hardware and everything, I just absolutely love it. So definitely will not be getting rid of that one. Next is a bag that I was gifted a few years ago that I really, really love. The quality and the construction, the overall color and all of it, it's really, really beautiful. And I've recommended this brand quite a few times as a result. They make really, really great vegan leather products. So I've ultimately decided though that I'm going to gift this to one of my sisters, whichever of them wants it, because I think it will serve either of them better than it does me. So the reasons are because the color, I think the coloring will suit them better than it does my overall wardrobe. It's a little bit too muted for my preferences when it comes to accessories. And then also I think the overall size, this will definitely serve them a little bit better than it does me. Both of my sisters are a lot taller than I am. They're 5'8" and 5'9", and I think that the proportions on this will be really, really beautiful on them. And then just the overall shape and everything, I think it will serve both of their styles a little bit better than it does mine, but really, really beautiful. The color is gorgeous. The condition of this is beautiful. It's lasted really, really well. I've worn it a lot, and as a result have decided that it's not perfect for my style, but very, very happy with this regardless. So I will link this brand down below for you because it can be tricky to find vegan products, and I think they do a really, really beautiful job. Now, when it comes to my general wardrobe preferences and my aesthetic, it tends to lean slightly more formal rather than casual, slightly more polished and buttoned up rather than kind of bohemian relaxed. Now, with that said, when I moved from somewhere that was very formal to somewhere that's very casual and very warm, I did feel like I was missing something, so I added a straw bag. And after looking at a bunch, I decided that this smaller scale round straw bag was perfect for me, and I really love this. I will not be getting rid of this. I like it because it's kind of medium-sized in proportion to me, and it really fits a lot, so I can carry sunscreen, sunglasses, all of that, but it's really easy to hold and comfortable, so I love this bag. And last but not least, I want to talk about two bags, the last two in my collection, that I think perfectly represent all of the things that I've learned about my preferences and are a perfect representation of all of the things that I just talked about. So the first one is this really cute little structured bag with the top handle, and I love this because it's a smaller scale version of the vintage bag that I showed you earlier that I love, so it works better with my overall proportions and my wardrobe and just my preferences. Plus, I love that it's this beautiful cool toned grayish white color. It really pops against my wardrobe color palette, so it stands out. It's vibrant, but it's still a little bit subdued, so I think it's super versatile. Plus the top handle, like I love, and then it also has a detachable shoulder strap, so I can wear it that way. Beautiful gold hardware and this great shape, so overall just really, really perfect. And then I also have this one that I think represents everything that I've learned, because again, it's top handle, it has a detachable strap, which I love, so I can wear it shoulder, and then it's got this great gold hardware, again something that I really enjoy, and this beautiful green color. I love green. I wear it all year long, and it's become a real key in my wardrobe color palette, and I think that it's so versatile. It's vibrant and saturated, but still subdued enough to go with a bunch of different colors. And then of course the overall size, it's small scale and really structured, but a little bit unexpected. So good. And I think that, like I mentioned, really paying attention to what you like and what you don't like, and using that information strategically can influence things you bring into your wardrobe so that you really enjoy them and wear them. So like I've mentioned in the past, I don't think there's ever a wardrobe mistake or anything that you should feel regret about, but rather use it as a learning lesson and something that can really help educate you on your preferences, and throughout your style journey help you make better purchases and better choices. So hopefully a little bit of the insight that I've shared can give you some things to think about in your own handbags. And like always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Have a great day.